again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Thank you so very much for joining me here today. Happy Friday. Yes, I was supposed to upload a speed build on Wednesday. However, if you are subscribed to me or if you do follow me on Twitter, then you will know that I had to put a slight delay on this particular speed build because work has just been a little bit manic this week. So thank you very much for your patience. I hope this one was worth the wait. I'm very, very excited to show this one to you guys. I'm building in the world of Sulani this time around, and I think I've only done one build in Sulani so far on the channel. And there's no particular reason for that. I don't know. I guess I just got into a bit of a flow with doing stereotypical sort of traditional family houses in Willow Creek and such, you know. So I think I just decided that it was a good idea to build a little, we've called it a little beach shack because it's, okay, so this is pack restricted, so I'm going to explain in just a moment what's happening here. So this house requires base game, island living, and tiny living. Now, there's a bit of a story to this because this house is not actually a tiny house, it's not a micro house, and it's not a small house either. It's 120 tiles. So obviously, for it to be a small house, I think it has to be 100 tiles. Now, I wanted to do this house with just base game and island living, which was fine for the exterior, which as you can see here, you will not see me touching anything from tiny living because until I got onto the inside of the house, I didn't realize that I was going to need tiny living. When I got onto the inside of the house, I struggled so badly with trying to put something together that looked good. And so after much deliberation and much starting over from scratch for the inside, I think I started from scratch from the inside like 5 or 6 times, and I'm not even exaggerating. And I almost didn't post this house, and I thought I've just fallen in love with the exterior so much that I have to do something with the interior because I really wanted to share this one with you all because I do think it turned out really nicely. So as I said, base game, tiny living, and island living is all you will need to download this house. Obviously, I did build it in Sulani, but if you want to put it somewhere else, I suppose you could do. But I'm struggling to think where this house would fit if you didn't put it in Sulani, because I specifically put it on this lot. This lot, I think I've built on a couple of times before. I know I've built on this once on the channel because I think my beach house that I did on the channel was built on this lot. And I use a lot of, you see me scrolling through debug a lot, especially for the exterior of the build, because I wanted it to look really lived in and kind of not run down, that's not what I mean at all, but just really lived in. And let's go with lived in, because if I try and think of the word that I'm trying to think of, we're going to be here for a long time. So the exterior of this house, as I said, I've absolutely fallen in love with, so I hope you guys really, really like this. There's a nice seating area just on the right hand side there. There's a lovely decking area that we're just working on here, and I had no idea that these vines were in the debug menu from Island Living, and this is exactly why I love doing pack restricted builds so much, because I think when you don't restrict yourself with the packs, I think you automatically go into autopilot mode and you go for items that you always go for. And I think in doing that, you're not really challenging yourself and you're not growing as a, I don't want to say as a creator, because I think like you do whatever you want to do. But for me personally, I love doing these pack restricted builds because I find items that I've never used before. And these are a prime example, these vines from the debug menu, which I think look so nice above these. I call them like pergolas, but I don't know if that's the right word to use. I can't remember. And if you have a keen eye, you might have noticed me really struggling to find the pergola on the back there with like the flower detailing on, because we got that, I think it was summer last year, in a base game update, and I thought I absolutely have to use that in this house, and I struggled so badly to find it. I know it's not in the debug menu, it's in the regular catalogue, but I can't even tell you how long it took me to find that item. It's not even funny how much time I've spent on this house. It doesn't look like I've spent a lot of time on it at all, but with the toing and froing and backwards and forwards and not liking it and then liking it again, it was It's been a tough ride, and it's also been kind of upsetting for me that I wasn't able to post on Wednesday. It hasn't really got to me, but I promised this build would have been out yesterday, and then work again was just really crazy and I just didn't have the time. So I now have the weekend off. I am in theory working Friday and Monday, but basically I'm just sort of manning the phones and seeing emails coming in, so it's not like work. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but I am in theory working. But Saturday and Sunday I am planning on just sitting down and getting some pre-recording done, because I think I wanted to get another build out this weekend, with it being bank holiday or Easter weekend, depending on where you are and how you celebrate everything, but I don't know if that's going to be possible, because I want to try and get between 2 and 4 builds done this weekend, so that then I'm 2 weeks ahead in terms of pre-recording. And I promise that I will get there, but there are weeks where I am going to struggle, and that's where the pre-recording will really help, because if I'm not able to sit down and record, I have talked about this before, so I'm so sorry, but if I'm not able to sit down and record, then I have that to fall back on. So it's so important for me to start pre-recording, and I don't think it's going to be easy, I really don't, but I want to try and get ahead of the game this weekend. So that's the plan. Although I am going for a walk with my mum and my sister on Saturday. So we'll see how it all goes. But anyway, you did not come here to hear me babble on about this. You probably came here to see the house, right? Or I'm guessing so. Some people might come here to hear me ramble, and if that is the case, wow. Like, you guys are awesome, because I feel so bad for like people that know me in real life, because this is exactly how I am in real life. I just talk about pointless stuff. I don't know. Anyway, again, I'm babbling about babbling. Wow. Anyway, shut up, Rachel. Still working on the exterior of this house, and I think the footage is around half and half. So now we're moving on to the interior, but I'm looking at my screen now, and roughly it's 50-50, because the interior of the build is not big at all, as you can see. But I think that the extra tiles would probably be the decking on the front and the decking on the back, possibly. I think that's maybe why it's 120 tiles. So if I took them off, it could have been a small house. I don't know. And if you guys can hear banging in the background, I think our neighbours are doing some work in their garden, so I'll try and edit that out. But if you can hear it slightly, I do apologise. And this is where I realised I needed to introduce tiny living into this build, because this is my 6th attempt at the interior of this house, and I was getting sick of seeing the inside of it. By the end of it, I just thought, I need to make it work. I absolutely need to make it work. And then I wanted to put a TV in here, and then I decided against it. So if you do want to move in here, you might have to just pop a TV down if that's something that's quite important to you. But I don't tend to put TVs in all of my houses for some reason. Sometimes I just forget to put TVs in the houses. So if you do download them, I can't even imagine the frustration that you guys feel when you download one of my houses and you're like, well, where's the TV? And I think I talked about it last week too. I think I uploaded a house a few months ago and it didn't have a fridge in the kitchen. That's something I've never done before, but it didn't have a fridge in the kitchen, and I didn't realize until one of my subscribers told me in the comments, and I was so embarrassed. And now I'm talking about things I've already talked about on the channel. I need to come up with some new ideas of things to talk about when I'm doing these voiceovers. But the living room is pretty much done. I can't remember if I just pop back in and just add some bits here and there. I probably do, because in my mind no build is ever really finished, and that's also a frustrating thing for me. And I'm such a perfectionist. I struggle with leaving things alone. Like, you'll see me probably like moving items just ever so slightly so that they're centered or they're in the area that I want them to be in, but it's a nightmare being a perfectionist. Is anyone else a perfectionist? I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing in some situations, because it means that you've got an eye for detail and it's very intricate and you want to make sure everything's absolutely perfect, but it's also quite exhausting at the same time. Anyway, so the kitchen is very narrow, as is the living room, because as you can see it's symmetrical on either side, and the color scheme, I wanted it to be bright and fun, and I just wanted it to be cute, and hopefully we achieved that with this house. But yes, it's quite an odd combination, I think, base game, island living and tiny living. And it's really funny that I've used tiny living, but the house that I've built isn't small, micro or tiny. I think that's hilarious. I think that's absolutely hilarious. It's just very me all over. It's hysterical. Anyway, I think I also struggled with this big open space in front of the front door. We don't end up putting anything there, funnily enough, just because I was going to put like a big dining room table there. But then, as you can see, I had put the tiny living bar table just in front of the open door, because that's where you're going to be eating and drinking with that view. It's just stunning. And so I think I just decided to keep the entrance open, and that's all right, that's fine. And then this is me being very indecisive again and going back and thinking, well, what can I put here? But we end up just putting these wooden panelings in from Island Living. So I think they work quite nicely. I didn't want to put the blue ones in from the outside. As you can see, I did try to do that, but it was just a bit too much, you know. So I decided the white would be better, because we have pops of colour in the furniture, and if you put pops of colour in the furniture and on the walls, sometimes depending on the colour scheme that you've gone for, it can be too much. Now I haven't really gone for a colour scheme per se in this build, but if I were to pick two colours out that I can see just right now, it would be this turquoise colour and the yellow. That's a colour scheme, turquoise and yellow. So, and then with pops of colour and mismatching items here and there, just because I didn't want it to be, it's not a stylish house, because it just doesn't give off that vibe, especially with the exterior of the house. So I just wanted it to be very, whatever it is what it is. Anyway, I bet you guys are really glad I posted today, aren't you? You're like, oh yes, she's finally posted a speed build, and then this is the voiceover that you're getting, and this is the house that you're getting. So if you are disappointed, then I'm sorry. The outside of this house is really nice though, so that's something. So if you want to get this house and just redo the inside, that's fine. I just had it in my head that I wanted to do another pack restricted build, and look, I'm working with what I had, okay? So it's a very unusual item combination and pack combination, and I didn't have much room. And anyway, I'm just gonna stop making excuses now. Now we're moving on to the one and only bedroom in the house. As you can see, I did use a ladder in this house just because I feel like that's more realistic than putting a set of stairs in, because it is technically a beach shack. And also I didn't want the stairs to be taking up too much of the floor plan and the space, because as you can see, there isn't much space at all. And the way that I've built the house, it's just such a strange shape. I think I probably need to start having a look at floor plans first, and then like doing things on the outside of the house, and then my houses on the inside wouldn't be as weird as they are. But then I suppose it wouldn't be one of my houses, would it, if it wasn't weird on the inside? Anyway, we're pretty much wrapping things up. We're just going to finish off the bedroom here, and then we very quickly move on to the bathroom, and then the screenshots are at the end of the build. So I'll leave you guys here, but thank you very much for joining me here today. This house is now available to download from the gallery. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description below. You can download them from Sim File Share. And what was I going to say? I've completely gone blank. I normally do these outros and I know exactly what I'm saying. This has been hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But I've stopped editing my mistakes out because that's not real. That's not real life. Anyway, yes, screenshots are at the end of the build if you would like to see what the house looks like in game. Wow. Thank you guys. I love you all, and I will see you next time I post a video. Bye.
Baby, good at thinking out loud, but not too good at keeping promises, no. Or did you fool yourself and like that, when you break my heart like that, like you're feeling sorry.